Hey game monks, Hybrid here. Are you wanting to play Volibear in Season 15 but unsure of what has changed? Well, today I'm going to give you a full rundown on everything you need to know to excel on Volibear Jungle in the big Season 15. So buckle up and let's jump straight into it. First, let's talk about runes. I think in general, your primary rune page is always going to be press the attack, just because Volibear can proc it so easily and it's just so helpful in enhancing your already incredible early game. However, regarding the secondary rune page, I'm more prone now to go from taking Inspiration second to Sorcery second for two major reasons. First, I think the new Axiom Arcanus rune is very good on Volibear. Usually, in my games, I found that by 20 minutes, I can get my ult one cooldown cycle earlier, which is absolutely massive given how vital and important Volibear's ult is in snowballing the game. The second reason is that most of the time you don't buy Sundered Sky anymore, and the cooldown of Unending Despair is also reduced, so the effectiveness of Cosmic Insight CDR is also much lessened. Because of this, I think unless you're certain you're going AD, Sorcery second is just always going to be better. Now onto items. Every day on stream at twitch.tv/hybrid, shameless plug, I get asked what I think about this build on Volibear and that build on Volibear. Truth to be told, I think the Navori build and the Sun Sky build are both not bad and are always going to be viable. However, if you look at the win rates of all items, Cosmic Drive is by far the highest win rate first item in the game, and it's by almost 4% compared to Sundered Sky. The truth is, Cosmic Drive is just a completely broken item, and even though Voli's AP scaling mainly comes from his E, Volibear's base damage means that even if you don't hit E, the movement speed bonus is just so OP in utilizing Volibear's kit. After Cosmic Drive, the core build is a lot more straightforward. If I'm playing against heavy AD, I go Unending Despair, then Form Nail. Otherwise, I would tend to go Unending Despair into Spirit Visage, or just straight Spirit Visage and then Unending Despair, depending on if they have a lot of AP damage or just a little bit. The reason being Spirit Visage is just completely OP on Volibear, because it amplifies your heal and your shielding, so it is always a must buy on Volibear if the enemy has any sort of AP damage. As for your 4th and 5th items, you can tend to go whatever's tanky, be it Knight's Vow, Randuin's, or even Deadman's Plate. However, if you are unsure, Thornmail, Canik Rooker, and Jackshaw are 3 items that tend to always be good despite what enemy comp is. Okay, before moving on, I've got to answer 2 questions you guys probably have. Number 1, yes, all the game footage you're looking at is actually from a professional game where I'm playing against ex-LEC players. Number 2, the cheat sheet I have on screen right now is actually available in my Discord. If you want to download it, just feel free to go there to get it. Also, the Discord's called the Temple for a reason. There's a lot of useful information there for junglers and especially Volibear players. There's also a bunch of high elo players, including me, always willing to help you if you have any questions, so please do join there and be part of one of the friendliest communities in this toxic ass game. Okay, having finished talking about the setup of Volibear, before addressing how you should play the game, I want to first talk about why Volibear is strong in the new season. If you've watched my Volibear guide, which if you haven't, please go watch it because I've got a lot of special tips and tricks in there, you know Volibear is the strongest early game jungler, and I think this unmatched early game prowess fits in perfectly with the Season 15 changes. First, the introduction of the Feats of Strength system now gives a scaling advantage to early aggression, which Volibear strives for more so than any other jungler. Second, with the introduction of Otacon and the increased importance in grubs, there is always going to be an objective to fight for, and early grab fights before 10 minutes literally determine the game's result, so being able to win them is extremely important. It is because of this importance in winning early skirmishes, and the decrease in downtime to farm camps and scale, which makes Volibear broken in solo queue if played correctly. However, while Season 15 changes tend to benefit Volibear, the move from cannon minions spawning on the 3rd wave to the 4th wave makes free camp dives a lot more difficult and definitely removed a key part of Volibear's game, which we will talk about now. Regarding the early game and pathings, to make it simple for you guys, just like the Volibear guide, I have an optimal pathing on each side you guys should use. First, if you're on blue side, much like before, you can do your free camps on your red quadrant into diving bots if enemy is low enough, or just into an invade, which will probably be a lot more common now, given that cannon waves arrive later, and thus dives on the 3rd wave would be harder. Since you don't lose 1v1s to any jungler, as long as you respect enemy laners' moves and make sure your team can follow you, this pathing is extremely strong and can win you games. On the other hand, if you're on red side, since you clear so quick, if you have mid prior, you can look for free camps on your red quadrant into invading enemy bot side, or if enemy jungler starts bot side, you can just do a full clear and look for a gank at the end of your rotation. While this pathing doesn't necessarily bring the same early game aggression, it's still fine in Soki because people are bad at tracking junglers and you will almost always find someone pushing too far and be susceptible for a gank, be it mid or bot lane. In mid game, I think the way you play the game is very straightforward. The only thing you really need to have on your mind is making sure you're always using your ult to create ganks and dives, and making sure you're always playing for grubs because they are a game-winning objective. Honestly, as I've said numerous times before, you never want to have your ult up as Volibear for too long. Your ult is extremely good at forcing and it allows you to bypass all the gank setup other junglers would need just because the tower disable is so strong in creating plays and dives. However, the only time your ult can be up is if you're ensuring that you have it for grubs. Remember that in Season 15, to be a good jungler, you always need to make sure every play you make allows you to eventually get the grubs. If you do not have grubs in mind as a jungler, you simply won't succeed in climbing because grubs in Circuit are just too game deciding. So make sure, as Volibear especially, you're consciously reminding yourself to take them and to set up for the grubs. Finally, we have to talk about late game. Come on, I know all of you guys are laughing right now, and I know late game Volibear is a meme, but there are still things you can do as Volibear to assist your team in the late game. I think the main thing to focus on really is just making sure you're using your ult to get picks on sides, and in team fights, make sure you are either peeling your carries if they are fed, or diving on the enemy backline and disrupting them if the enemy backline is fed. Also, remember that your Q flash is always handy to catch people off guard and get picks, so don't get too worried if the game goes late, as Volibear is still a great champ at playing through side and creating numbers advantages for your Q. This brings us to the end of the video. Hopefully you were all able to get everything you need to know to excel on Volibear in Season 15 from the video. Thank you all for watching, join the Monk community on the Discord, and honestly if I could ask for one thing, please hit the subscribe button and the like button, as it really does help me a lot. Finally, even though it looked like I completely stopped this pro game, I actually ended up throwing an 8k 6 grubs gold lead and lost the game. GG's. I appreciate you all and peace. We're out of here.